Hello everyone, this is Simple Math for you, and in this video we are going to continue the revision for term 1, and this is specifically for grade 9, and we will continue part 2. Identify the domain and the range of the below relation. Is this relation a function? And explain. What is the domain? Domain is all values of x. These are x values and these are y values. The domain are all the values of x that were used, actually, that we could use. And in this case, the domain are the values -2, 5, 7, and 8. What is the range? The range is all the images that were used, all the values of y that were used, and they are 3, 5, 6, and 7 is not used, so I will not write it. 7 is not used. It's not an image of any element in the domain. As you have noticed, 6 is the image of both 5 and 8. It's repeated, but no need to repeat mentioning it twice. You mention the element once in the set. Is a relation a function? Or this relation is a function? The relation is considered to be a function if each element in the input is paired once or is paired with one element in the range. And in our case here, it's very clear that this is the case. So we will say, yes, it is a function because each input is paired with one output. Or in other words, we can say another way to mention that each element in the domain is paired with one element in the range. Remember, when I explained the domain and the range in one of the videos, I asked you to imagine that these are students in the class, or for example, in any class. A student will be paired with one class. For example, this student is in grade 10, this student is in grade 11. We can share this student is also in grade 11, but the same student cannot be paired with two classes at the same time. So in this case, you can remember the function. Okay, rate of change. In 2000, the rate of change is similar to the slope for actually lines. In 2000, there were 164 seniors in the graduating class. In 2015, there were 185 students. What is the rate of change from 2000 to 2015? Consider usually that X is years, time in general, and Y is the other factor that it might be numbers, it might be speed, it might be whatever. So let's mention the points in this order. In 2015, in 2000, let's start with the beginning. 2000, there were 164 students. In 2015, there were 185 students. So if you are asked to find a rate of change, we will assume that this is x1, y1, x2, y2, and we will apply y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is 185 minus 164 over 2015 minus 2000. And using the calculator, the answer will be C, which is 7 over 5 to the simplest form. Khalifa can run 5 miles in 40 minutes. This is time, so we would write it 40 and 5. And 60 minutes he needs, it takes him 60 minutes to run 8 miles. So also 60 with 8. Remember, this is time and this is time, the same order. The question is find the rate of change. So rate of change will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is 3 over 20. So we will say 3 over 20 miles per minute. If you are asked to put it in decimal, then it is 0.15 miles per minute. The calculator can do that for you. In 2015, Sarah spent $800 buying lunches. So in 2015, the spent amount $800. In 2017, she spent $550. What is the rate of change? So rate of change 550 minus 800 over 2017 minus 2015. Remember, the order is important, and this will lead to negative $125 per year. Remember, the negative sign shows that it is decreasing, and it's very clear that it is decreasing. Determine whether the function is linear. If it is, state the rate of change. How can we check that the function is linear? We can check that by calculating the difference between two consecutive values of y and two consecutive values of x. As you see here, if you subtract 1 minus the negative 1, it's 2. And it's very clear that every element is increasing by 2 to find the next one. You can do it mentally. And for this y, you have decreased by negative 2. So the rate of change is constant. That means, yes, it's linear. So we have here three choices with linear. This is linear, this is linear, this is linear. So this is not an acceptable answer. Now we will find the rate of change. To find the rate of change, we have two methods or two options, two approaches. Either you just divide the change of y over change of x directly, which is 2 over negative 2, which is negative 1. So you get this answer and not those, of course. Or you can pick 2 points. This is the first point, and this is the second point, and you can find the rate of change by applying the formula 1 minus minus 1 over 2 minus 4, which is 2 over negative 2, which is negative 1. You will have the same answer. Write this equation in slope-intercept form. Let's remember that this equation is written in standard form. This is standard form. Standard form is ax plus by equals to c, where a, b, c are integers. A is non-negative number. It should be positive. And it's never a and b together to be 0. Now, if you are asked to write in slope-intercept form, means we wanted to write to be written in this way, solve for y. So simply you just can shift the x and divide by 4. So y is negative 3x minus 9. That's it. This is called slope-intercept form. Here, the same approach. Negative, don't forget that this is negative, so negative 5y is negative 10x minus 30, and when you divide all the members of the equation, it becomes 2x plus 6. This is negative over negative, positive 2x plus 6. Now we have a graph. Refer to the line graph below and find the following. The slope. We can choose the points that are already there. You can use rise over run, and you know that this has negative slope because it's decreasing. As you see, it's going down. And you can simply apply the slope formula. If you apply rise over run, it's 2 over 1, which is 2. It's negative 2. If not, you want the slope formula. So simply you can apply the slope formula. So you can say this is, let's say, x1, y1, x2, y2. 4 minus 2 over minus 4 minus minus 3, which is 2 over negative 1, which is negative 2, as we have expected. Now, the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. And in our case, it is negative 4. So y-intercept is negative 4. So the equation, which is y equals mx plus b, will become m, the slope that we have. The b is negative 4. Done. What is the equation in slope-intercept form for the line A graph? So this is the line A as we have seen here. This is the line A. So we need first to find the slope. To find the slope, simply pick 2 points. Pick 2 good points. So let's try to find 2 points. This is one of the points that I like, and this is another point. You can find it using rise over run, or you can simply find the coordinates of the each point actually. The rise over run here is it's going down 2, it's going to the right 3, so it's negative 2 over 3. Negative 2 over 3 is this is the only one with half slope negative 2 over 3. So we can stop here. But if we have another choice with negative 2 over 3, we can compare it with the y-intercept, which is in our case here 1. So yes, this is the equation that we have here. Let's say we want for B. For B, this is the y-intercept. Let's have a different exercise. For B here, y-intercept is negative 3. And the slope, take also 2 points, 2 good points. If I take, let's say, this point and another point, this point. So this will be, or you can say this way. You can say that this is the run to the right. It's positive slope anyway. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So rise is 5. Run is 2. So it's 5 over 2 positive. So y equals 5 over 2x plus negative 3, which is the y-intercept. So this can be the other choice here. It's not required, but we are adding this question. Match the linear function with the correct description of how the graph differs from the parent graph. The parent graph in general is f of x is x. This is the parent function for all linear function. And as you see here, we have this difference and we have this difference. The minus in general, the negative sign in general indicates reflection. If it is not grouped, so its reflection the reflection will be across the x-axis. It's grouped means inside bracket, inside the group. So in this case, this will be reflection across x-axis, yani from here to here, if this is the coordinate plane. And the 3, since it's multiplied, not added to, multiplied, so it is definitely considered stretching or compressing. Since also the 3 is not inside the group, so it's outside, so it's mean vertical, stretching or compressing. Why we are saying vertical stretch in this case? Because the 3 is more than 1. So 3 is more than 1 and it is not grouped. So we will choose for that B. Because here we have reflection across B, reflection across x-axis and stretched vertically. While here it's the same as you see, but the minus is inside, so the reflection will be across y-axis, and the 3 will be also inside. So exactly what you were saying here, you're saying here stretch vertically, just mention the opposite exactly when it is grouped, compressed horizontally. So that's why we would choose A there. Match the linear function with the correct description. Okay, again, the minus here outside, so it's reflection across x-axis. The 5 is outside and more than 1 multiplied, so it's vertical stretch, and reflection across the x-axis, where we can say that we can see that in D, I guess, the graph stretch vertically and reflected across x-axis. Yes, so this will be D. Here, the same exercise as we have done just now, but inside the group. So everything will be the opposite. So this reflection will be across the y-axis, and instead of stretched vertically, it will be compressed horizontally, which matches choice C, I guess. Yes, compressed horizontally and reflected across y-axis. So this is C. Now the difference here is that we are adding 5 inside the bracket and we adding 5 outside. When we add inside the bracket, that means it is going outside, sorry, bracket up if it is plus, and this inside the bracket will go to the left if it is plus, and if it is minus, it will go to the right. So that means that translation is translation, left or right or up and down means translation. So this will match with choice B, with the graph translated 5 units left and 5 units up. So this will be B. Finally, we have only bracket moving left or right, and since it is plus, then it's moving right. So this matches with choice A, where it is translated right. Remember, this is not stretching or compressing because the numbers are not multiplied by x, they are added to x. Now, moving to the topic of arithmetic sequence. Remember, arithmetic sequence is a sequence that have constant difference. That is called common difference, and we call it D. So we are asked here to determine whether each arithmetic sequence, if it is, gives the common difference. So let's check. We have to find out the difference. What is the difference? 15 minus 1, 14. 29. So the new minus the old, 14. And this is 14 as well. Mentally, you can do that. Going to this direction, this is adding 14, add 14, add 14. You have to check all the elements if you are asked to check whether it's an arithmetic sequence or not. So since it applies for all that the difference is constant, then you have to say, yes, it is. And the difference is, in our case, 14. Let's check number 2. The difference here is negative 3. If you subtract minus 2, minus 1 is minus 3. So it's negative 3. And 3 minus minus 2 is 5. So here, it means that here you are adding here 3, but you are adding here 5. You shouldn't check and waste your time the rest. Finish. If you stop at any difference, you just say no, because the difference is not constant. For this example, it's very obvious, very clear that they are increased by 5 every time. And that means we can say yes, and our difference is 5. Here, adding 2 here and there, but here we add 4. So stop here and say no. Here, finding the difference, it is negative 8. Let's subtract 64 minus 72 is negative 8. 56 minus 64 is negative 8. 48 minus 56 is negative 8. 40 minus 48 is negative 8. It's decreased by 8 every single time. So we can say yes, and the D is negative 8, not 8. You should mention the minus because it is decreasing. Fill in the two missing values to make arithmetic sequence. To be able to fill the missing ones, we should find the difference, the D. As you see here, from negative 4 to minus 1, what was the difference? Minus 1 minus minus 4 is minus 1 plus 4, which is 3. Adding 3 will lead to the next term. So you will add 3 here, it becomes 2. And when you add another 3, it becomes 5 as it's mentioned. So add another 3 to have the 8, add another 3 to have the 11. Find the next 5 terms. Same here. From 7 to 5 is decreasing by 2. So you are decreasing by 2 every single time. And subtract 2, it will be negative 3. Subtract another 2, it will be negative 5. Subtract another 2, it will be negative 7. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as he asked. Which equations represent the line? It's another topic, not arithmetic sequence. Passing through the point 89 and the slope of 3. You can start by point slope form and turn it to slope intercept form, as all the answers here slope intercept form, or simply you can start by y equals mx plus b. Use this as an x and this is an y. Slope is 3, x is 8 to find the value of b. Solve for b, which is negative 15. So our equation will be y equals, the slope is 3 plus then b is negative 15. So the answer is A. Which of the following represent the equation as a straight line that is parallel to x-axis? X-axis is the horizontal axis as you see. This is the x-axis. This is x. The straight line parallel to x-axis should be horizontal line. all horizontal lines. And usually horizontal lines appear when you have an equation with y equals to a constant number, y equals 2, y equals 9, y whatever, because it will be constant at this value of y, irrespective of the value of x. So this will be our answer, because if you try to graph this, y will be staying at 9, even if the axes are different. So if you graph it, all will be at 9. Similarly, which equation represents straight line that is parallel to y-axis? Parallel to y-axis means it should be vertical, and the vertical line should be constant at a value of x, because x will be always the same irrespective of the value of y. So it will be x equals to a constant. Complete the table below to match the equation with the line correct description. Now, we are asked on all cases almost to find the slope. So let's see. And we have here x equals to 5. X equals to 5, it's a vertical line. For any vertical line, it looks like that. It has undefined slope, and it will be parallel to y axis. So this definitely will be choice B. On the other hand, for y equals to 2, it is horizontal line. It looks like that. Here the slope is 0, and it will be parallel to x-axis. So this is C. For other ones, we need to solve for the y. If you solve for the y here, y is negative x plus 5. Negative x means negative 1x, and in this case, the slope is negative 1. The slope negative will be getting down like that. So this is D. And finally, this will be A, and let's solve it anyway. It will be negative y equals negative 2x plus 1. Divide all by negative 2. So this will be x negative 1 over 2. That means the slope is 1, and this is the case. Select the equation that represents a line passing through this point and the slope of 4. As you see, this equation is written in point slope form. Point slope form means y minus y1 equals slope x minus x1, where m is the slope, x1, y1 is a point. So if you consider that this is x1, y1, so y minus the 5 is equal to the slope, which is 4, x minus the negative 2. If you simplify it, it will lead to x plus 2 here, which is compatible with A. If this A was not the right one, then you check the other one, and if you are asked to check if it is compatible with the slope-intercept form or whatever, you need to rewrite the equation in this form. Write the equation in slope-intercept form for the line that is parallel to the graph of this line and passes through this point. So we know that this line is parallel to this line. Parallel lines means the slopes are equal. So let's check the slope here. To check the slope, we need to rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form. That means the slope here will be 3. This is the slope. So that means that the slope here, slope 2, will be also 3. And we need, now we have the slope, we have the point. So directly we can use y equals mx plus b using the point and the slope given. So using the y, which is here in our case, this is the x and this is the y, just to find the b. X is 4 plus the b. So 7 is 12 plus b. 7 minus 12 is b. So b is negative 5. And that means the equation y is the new slope, which is the same as the old slope, minus the new b, which is negative 5. So remember, parallel lines will have equal slope. Here, different question. We have line which is perpendicular to the other line, perpendicular. Which equation is perpendicular? So slope here is negative 2 over 3. If the line is perpendicular, then the product of the slopes will be negative 1. Means 1 is the negative reciprocal of the other one. If this was negative 2 over 3, then slope, the other one is 3 over 2. Remember, we flip and we flip the sign at the same time. Which one of the given question have a slope 3 over 2? It is very obvious that it's only A here. So this is the answer. Write the equation in slope-intercept form of a line that is perpendicular to this line and passing through this point. So the key point is here perpendicular, and we have here a line that that will help us to take the slope. So first we will solve for y, and we will take the slope here. Now this slope will not be equal to that, will be the negative reciprocal. So it will be 1 over 5. Since this is negative 5 over 1, flip the sign, flip the up and down, the numerator and denominator, and this will be our slope. So we have a point, and we will work with this normally. Y equals mx plus b minus 1 is 1 over 5 times 2 plus b. Take this there. So this is negative 7 over 5. And finally, you would write the new equation, new slope, new b. So y is 1 over 5x plus the new b, 7 over 5. This is perpendicular. As you see, when you compare the slopes, they are negative reciprocals. Now we need to match the equation with the relation with the slopes. Here the slope is 2 over 5. Let's see what is required. Match each equation to the term that accurately describes the relationship to line M. Here, the slope is negative 0.4. Here, this is the slope. These are the slopes. It's ready. We don't need to solve 4 because it's written, all of them are written in slope-intercept form. So, directly the easiest thing, you should know that the parallel lines have equal slope. If you divide 2 over 5, this will be equivalent to 0.4. So the line with the same slope will be parallel to that, and this is compatible with this one. So this will be the same as that one. Okay, now the line perpendicular, I will write t, upside down t. It will be 1 over 0.5 with 4 with negative. And you have to flip it or put it under 1, and this will lead to negative 2.5. That means this slope, which means this is perpendicular to the line mentioned. Finally, neither parallel or perpendicular means not the slopes are not equal to each other nor negative reciprocals of each other. So this will be C, which is negative 0.4. Okay, are the graphs of either equation parallel or perpendicular? We have an example here, which is a little bit exception. The exceptional case here, the exception is that this line is horizontal and this line is vertical. Any horizontal line is perpendicular to any vertical line, common sense. So even you cannot compare the slopes because here the slope is undefined and here the slope is 0. You cannot multiply and check whether the slopes have product of negative 1. Yes, but you should know that they are perpendicular. Okay, let's move to the easy part. This and that are exactly the same, so for sure it's parallel. This and that are negative reciprocals. This is negative and this is positive, and this is upside down, so these are perpendicular. Regarding this one, you should solve for y. If well, this is the remaining part, but you should solve for y. So to solve for y, take the x there. 5y is 2x minus 4. When you divide by 5, this is the slope. And for this one, 5y is negative 2x minus 4. And when you divide by 5, this will be the slope. As you see here, the slopes are only opposite to each other in sign. So they are neither perpendicular nor parallel. Consider these scatter plots. If you notice that the scatter plots going down, decreasing, means it has negative correlation. So directly here, negative correlation. But for B here, you see that it is going up. So it is definitely positive correlation. Positive correlation means as the x-axis values increases, the y values increase, whatever the x values is. And for the negative correlation, as x values increase, the y values decrease. They are opposite to each other. Match each scatter plot to its description. This is increasing, so it has positive correlation. This is decreasing, so it has negative correlation. This have nothing to do, I don't know, I don't have any trend whether increasing or decreasing. So in this case, this has no correlation. So that's why the choices are C, B, A. Fatima weighs each type of fruit her garden produces each week. Does the scatter plot shows positive, negative, or no correlation? As you see, it is somehow going down, so it has negative correlation. Determine whether the data illustrate correlation or causation. As you see here, we conclude that it has negative correlation, but causation means the values are affected by each other. There is a cause and effect. So let's check, is this causation? يعني if the yield of a blueberry increases the yield of the strawberries, or the product producing more blueberries means producing more strawberries or less strawberries, they are affecting directly each other, then we can say that they are causation. It's causation, but actually it's not. So it is not causation because producing, so it's no causation, we can say not causation, because more product of strawberries does not yield more product of blueberries. This has nothing to do with that one. Yani, it's by chance, yeah. We can see that they have correlation, yeah, but not necessarily any correlation leads to causation. This order pair, now we have moved to inverse function. We have a relation, as you see here. Select all ordered pairs that are inverse of the function. For the inverse of the function, x and y are swapped without swapping the signs, without changing any sign. So 1, 1 will be okay. Negative 7 and 3 will be okay. And this one is not okay. This is okay because in this one, they change the sign of 7, which is not applicable. So the question can be in any exam coming, which one is not belonging to the inverse? So you will choose C in this case. Read the question carefully. Find the inverse of the relation. Simply switch A and B. And this applies to B. Which function is the inverse of this? Okay. For the inverse of the function, what are the steps? First, exchange f of x by y. So y will be 2x minus 6. Step 2, exchange x and y. Step 3, solve for y. So take the 6 there, divide by 2. So y is x plus 6 over 2. If you cannot see here the choices, then simplify more, distribute. So it will be x over 2 plus 6 over 2, which is half x plus 3. X over 2 here, the same as half x. And this means, finally, replace y by f inverse. So it will be half x plus 3, which means A. We have revised how to find the inverse. Note that, what's the relation between the slopes of the inverse and the function? It's just the reciprocal without changing the sign like the perpendicular lines. Which of the following represent the inverse? So here we have y already. We don't need to exchange f of x by y. And just replace x by y and y by x. Yani switch. Then solve for y. Then divide by -5. So y is x minus 9 or over -5. Or switch the signs because none of the denominators here is negative. So this will be positive. Yeah, you multiply everything by minus 1 up and down. So it will be minus x plus 9, or it is 9 minus x over 5. 9 minus x over 5 matches with C. What is the value of G inverse of 3? This is the G. If you are asked what is the G of -1, so it's the image of -1, which is 3. But if you are asked about what is G inverse of a value, that means you are asked about the inverse operation. So instead of the arrow going this way, and this was the domain, this was the range. In the inverse, if you want the inverse, then the arrows will be reversed. So this will be starting. So if you are asked here, what is the inverse function of G at 3? So you will see where the arrow starts from 3, and it goes to who? It goes to -1. So this will be our answer. Yani for another example, if you are asked what is G inverse of 4, now you go to the other direction from 4 going to 0. So G inverse of 4 will be 0, etc. Using the graph of h of x, what is h inverse of 4? H inverse of 4 means what was the value, the coordinate plane with y4, something with y4, because we need it this way. So for the y4, this is the 4. So the best way is to extend the line like here and see where this line crosses the line given. This is the line given. This is the line that we want. The point with coordinates y4, y coordinate 4, is -2. X coordinate will be -2. And if this was -2 and 4. So if you want h inverse of 4, we are looking at x when y is 4, which is -2. Let's take another example. What is h inverse? Let's take another example of 2. So you go to 2 and see what was x. It's also 2. What is h inverse of 3? Go to 3, and as you see here, 3 is paired with 0, so it is 0. That's how we deal with the inverse function. So we reach to the end of part 2. See you in part 3. Thank you all, and see you. إلى اللقاء.